Hey guys, welcome back to My Truth, aka His Truth, aka Your Truth,
and aka our truth. Nothing but the truth, the whole truth, so help me God.
Oh God. So today we're back with another video. It's your girl Chrissy, and this is Mr.
T, aka Mr. T, aka Reggie, aka alright, I do too much. I'm done.
You surely do.
Just Reggie, y'all. I'm back.
You surely do. So today we're gonna talk about one of our childhood traumatic experience that we were gonna talk about. We have a childhood traumatic experience that we wanted to share with you guys. So who's gonna start today?
Okay, so today I'm gonna start. So one of some of the childhood traumatic things that I've experienced, I think it's very the reason we do our whole channel is really just to really talk about, the importance of your truth. And I think part of my truth, it starts from when I was younger, when I was a child. It's just I had some really traumatic experiences when I used to live in Haiti.
Right. Living
in Haiti was tough, especially as a child, because there were so many bad things going on all at once. And people were getting shot, killed, for the simplest thing, for any kind of robbery. Well, not any kind of robbery, but let's say if somebody just broke into your home, stole some chickens or something, because a lot of the places were still rural. They were getting stoned to death, and the bodies were being left on the street. And it was very vicious, and I was very sensitive to that as a child, because I'm like, man, I don't think that person deserved to die. I don't know why I felt that way, but it was just so crazy to see. Yeah, no, it was so sad, and I think that was very traumatic for me. It just made me see the world as a cruel world, and it kind of created a lack of trust in people for me. But it kind of helped me also realize who I am. I'm very empathetic. I have a strong feeling towards other people's pain and what it is that they go through, and I'm just I think that kind of relates back to my experience in childhood. And then when we moved to the States, some of the terrible experiences I had was, I had a friend called, I don't know his name, it shouldn't be mentioned, but I had a friend when I was 14. He got shot and killed right in front of his mom's house, and that was kind of really scary, because I felt like for the first time I felt really vulnerable. As a teenager. I was like, man, I could potentially lose my life at any point. I know a lot of times as teenagers, as a young person, we feel like, okay, yeah, I'm invincible, but for the first time I had a realization of hey, anything can happen at any time, and it was just tough. And then the last really terrible thing that happened to me when I was young was when I was 16. One of my neighbors got kidnapped, and he was put in the trunk of a car, all because of the doing of his brother. His brother was in the gang and doing all the stuff. And then the day of the night before the funeral, they had the wake, and there was a lot of people hanging around doing a lot of stuff. And
he died?
Well, yeah, he died. So right before his funeral, there was a lot of stuff going on in the neighborhood just for him, just to remember him. And because his brother was there, the guys who was coming after his brother literally came by and did a drive-by in our neighborhood and tried to just shoot up the whole neighborhood, it felt like. And our windows got hit, and I was literally sleeping on the couch and just hearing people running through our back door, knocking, let us in, let us in. We have no idea who they are. We can be targeted just as much now just because we're related to them, or not even related to them, but just let them in, just trying to protect their lives. Right. And it's just it was just so traumatic for a long, for that period of time. Coming home for me was, I was just like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? But I experienced all these things, and it kind of it's part of the reason why my truth now is just to really help young people, or try to be a positive example in my community and everything that I do. So I don't know, that's part of my truth as far as how my childhood really affected me as a young person. But now I've learned to look on the brighter side of things, on how I can help change someone's life like a young person. Right. What about you? What's some of the traumatic things that's happened to you when you were younger and kind of affected you now and how you think?
So, I have two that I can remember, being in Jamaica. For those who don't know, originally I'm from Jamaica. But one thing I remember, and I even have this scar to show it, is I remember, I was young. I was probably 6 or even 7 years old, probably around 6. I was in where I used to live. It used to be at the back of my house, it was a gutter. And it was also a cemetery.
Cemetery.
Cemetery. I call it cemetery. Whatever. But it was like at the back, it was like a lot of graves. I think Jamaicans, it's not just Jamaicans, but they feel like, oh, you know, the ghost of the person that died is gonna haunt you, or oh, they're around, or whatever.
Yeah.
They believe in that. Yeah, they believe in that stuff. But I remember it was like a gutter, so I was on like probably like the right side of the gutter, and then I end up slipping in the gutter right on top of like a broken bottle. It was a broken glass bottle, and I don't know, it was crazy. Like, obviously in the moment I couldn't feel it, but I could see the blood just oozing out of my arm, and my bone was like sticking up. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's like, it's weird.
That's terrible.
I don't know, you probably can't see it that well, but it's like, it's a scar. So anyway, like, that's one of the most traumatic experiences. And the reason why it was even traumatic, because even though I couldn't feel it, like, I remember when my mom took me to the doctor, and I guess they didn't believe in the numbing stuff and all that. So I was fully awake. I was fully, you know, aware and conscious. And then as they were like, what do you call it?
They were stitching it.
Stitching it. Like, they were stitching my hand, and that crap hurt. Like, that crap hurt like a mother. And then I'm holding on to my mom. I'm like, oh my God, you're so evil, like, for letting me having to go through this. And, you know, they didn't even numb it or nothing like that. So I would never forget that moment. And then I even remember going to, like, my dad, because he had like a barbershop in Jamaica, and like, we go in there like, hey, you know, my mom's like, your daughter's bleeding, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm just there like, I mean, I'm bleeding, but it doesn't hurt. Like, I can't feel it. Then I couldn't feel it. Another traumatic experience for me is, I remember my dad's brother. It was my dad's older brother. He was actually my favorite uncle at the time. He was in jail. And I guess some of his little jail buddies ended up murdering him. They used like those big machetes and kind of like chopped his body up into pieces. And you've seen that video like they chopped his body up into pieces. And I remember being a kid, and I'm like, oh, that's my favorite uncle. Like, the day of his funeral, like, my mom, she was at work, I actually got into a taxi. I dressed myself in all red. I'll never forget that. I had on all red, and I ended up jumping into a taxi with, I didn't even care who it was, because I'm like, I have to go to that funeral. That's my favorite uncle. I ended up going to his funeral. Like, I would never forget that for some reason, because I'm like, that was my favorite person, and the way they chopped them up like that, and like, I just felt like I needed to be there. And I wasn't scared. Like, it's weird, I wasn't scared. I mean, I can't look at that stuff now, but I wasn't scared. Like, I actually went and looked at him in his casket, and it was pretty traumatic. Like, I would never forget that. Like, I can always see his face. Even as a kid, like, I can always remember his face. I don't remember his face now, but back then, like, I would always remember his face. And
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
I was young, because remember, I moved from Jamaica when I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I was probably no older than 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was probably around like 5, 6. Probably around 6. I would say probably 6 more than anything. But yeah, that was like traumatic for me, because I'm like, that was my favorite uncle. And there's a song that always reminds me of my uncle. Like, I still listen to that song to this day, and it always just reminded me of him. But yeah, that was my 2 traumatic experience from my childhood, like being in Jamaica. And those people they could be real. Jamaica is beautiful, don't get me wrong, beautiful but place. Just like any other island or place or country, just anywhere, you have the bad parts of it. And it just so happened that my uncle was, you know, wrapped up in that, and they ended up killing him. So those are my 2 traumatic experiences as a child that I remember. Like, thank you guys for watching.
Oh wow, that's I don't know. I know you told me the story, but every time you say it again, I don't know why. Like, it hits even more to hear that, because all those experiences, right? They really shape who you are and your truth and everything that you do. And like, as a child, nobody would really think, oh, 6, 7-year-old, like, as a parent or anybody would have such an impact on them. but your uncle had such an impact on you that
Right.
you know you were willing to just kind of go
Yeah.
by any means necessary. It's like,
I didn't care. Like I was like, oh, that's my favorite uncle. I don't care. I know all these people that are going to this funeral.
Yeah.
I'm not about to miss this. I jumped in that taxi and I went. Like I was with other people that I knew, but I was like, oh, I'm going. Like I ran home. I remember like everybody was, oh yeah, we're going to the funeral. We're going to the funeral. Like I went home, I put on my best dress, the nicest dress that I had, and I was like, I'm going to say goodbye to my uncle, like regardless. And I was not scared at all. I was surprised I was not scared, but
that's a tough one. It's tough.
Yeah, it was very traumatic, but
oh man,
it does definitely shape the person that, because I can, and you know what's funny? It's like, why is it that we can always remember trauma? We can always remember the bad things that has happened. I mean, we do remember the good, but it's like it's so much easier to remember the bad stuff. Like when I think, like, I don't know about you, but like certain smell or certain like music or whatever it is, it kind of reminds you and bring you back to that to that one time in your childhood, or that one time, you know, as a teenager or whatever. It just makes you remember. Like there's this smell, and every time I smell it, I'm like, oh my god, that smells like somebody I went to school with. And this is from a whole nother country.
A whole nother country.
It's like a whole nother country. I'm like, wait, what? I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, there's no way this person's here.
Right.
But it just reminded me of that person, you know? So it's kind of the same thing, like when I hear that song, like,
I guess certain things create like certain memories in your brain.
Right.
That are lasting. I think with trauma, from my perception, I think the reason why it tends to linger around longer than like good times is because trauma just leaves a big old like print in your memory, as far as like the potential of you maybe dying, or it creates such a hurt that, you know, you couldn't really deal with and really process at one time, so all at once. But maybe that's why it lasts a lot longer. But I think the good times also make up everything too. I mean, it makes us, like, I think I'm pretty jolly for the most part and happy, whatever, but I think most of it comes from just the good times that I had. So I think they both play a solid role. But man, that's crazy. Rest in peace to Unc and all the people that, you know, that were unfortunately killed in unfortunate ways. And
that was
really
scary.
sad. That's scary.
Like thinking about it, that's pretty scary. Like, cause like Jamaicans, they use that big ass machete and they chop you up like you're just raw meat. So it's, I don't know. It's like it's savage. People are just savage in the world.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you. I don't know what traumatic experience you guys have that you've been through and what your truth is through those traumatic experiences, but whatever it is, please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what some of your traumatic experiences and how it affects your truth and who you are these days. But thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe this video, comment, add us on Instagram at mytruthcr. All right, that's our Instagram name. Once again, that is mytruthcr. Feel free to contact us if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss and things like that. All right, thank you guys for watching. Thank for the people.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love y'all. Bye. Have a good one.